What keeps you going when it gets tough?
It sounds cliche, and I'm sure it sounds cliche for you millennials. But I do think that it's a calling on my life to do this kind of work, because I have never burned out. Mental health has always been something that in my generation was looked down upon or kind of looked over. I know of a lot of young folks who are not ashamed to talk about having to have dealt with depression and other issues that were kind of taboo in years past.
When a mental battle starts to brew inside of our minds, we all try our best to fight it. And while many of us have different avenues to help cope with our issues, it still doesn't stop these inner conflicts from shaping the way we see our reality. Previous generations have supposedly never dealt with mental issues the way the younger generations have. Gen X, Millennials, and even Gen Z have been deemed weaker because of the issues that surround our mental health. But these generations are not weaker. The problem is that in previous generations, these issues were simply not discussed. And when I spoke with clinical therapist Joe Wilkins about the issues surrounding mental health, he told me that these are issues that those in the mental health field have known about for years and have tried to bring light to it. Maybe now people are ready to listen.
I've been a licensed clinical therapist since 2015. I have worked in the mental health field, though, since 1990 as a therapist, as a counselor. It is my role to help folks look at things from a different perspective than their own. It is, a process. It helps people to do some problem solving.
What are some of the different stigmas that you've come encounter with from different people?
Well, one of the main stigmas that I run into is that, people feel like if you're getting counseling that you're crazy. And that in no way, shape, form, or fashion is accurate.
Is it like a pride thing, you would say it is?
I would say that probably factored in there to some degree, because there are certain people that have mindset that, I don't have a mental illness. There's not a mental illness in my family, even though there may be. And they don't want to talk about it if somebody or if their child is born with a mental illness. It can be a variety of different reasons as to why mental health issues were not talked about or not dealt with properly. Many folks who have said that, I had these symptoms when I was a child, but my parent decided that they didn't want me taking any kind of medication for them. So they had to suffer through that period of time, whether going through school, going through adolescence, as difficult as that is anyway, but they had to do it without the help of any kind of mental health help.
And what are some of the challenges you face when it comes to denial of mental health?
Oh my goodness, that is the most difficult piece. So if you're not getting the accurate information from the individual, it makes it very difficult to treat them. And when that happens, people get misdiagnosed, or they just flat out refuse to receive any kind of treatment. If the person comes on their own and they have these bipolar symptoms of not being able to sleep, their thoughts are just constantly racing, have these intense mood swings all the time, they're easily distracted, and they're open about those symptoms, then those are the individuals that are easy to treat.
Have you ever found that some people are afraid to say what their symptoms are?
Yes. There have been times during assessments where, and in the midst of the assessment, the person would say, I don't want you to think that I'm crazy. I don't want you to think this way about me, so I didn't say this. I feel when I complete an assessment on someone, I'm aiming to get 100% accurate information from the person. I realize, though, that I may get 60 to 70% accurate information. But 60 to 70% accurate information really helps me to be able to try to help that person.
So it seems like with this generation, we seem to be very focused a lot on mental health and, making sure that we are taking like mental breaks or whatever it takes. So we're seeing how the mind is important and how much it actually helps us to be able to function better as human beings and stuff like that. And what's it been like working and being a part of the change that you've been a part of as far as mental health and being a therapist and everything?
The change has come over time, and I can't say that it's related to something that's generational. I know that for years people who are in the mental health field have attempted to bring attention to these issues.
So I guess my last question would be, if you could pass down any wisdom to this millennial generation and generations after that you've learned on this journey, what would it be?
Continue to demand, to seek to improve your own health. And you got to do that by taking care of yourself, lessening your stress, lessening things that bring you down and make you feel depressed. But taking care of yourself, getting into a routine, being active. Learn as much as you can about your family history. Ask questions. Your parents are going to probably not be able to give you specific information about, what symptoms a person might have had or whether or not they were diagnosed, because many in my generation were not diagnosed. Ask about it, because you need to have knowledge. And, for this generation and all generations, knowledge is power.